spoken to the drugs, you've spoken to the education. Can you speak to what then else changed your perception of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and why you, if you feel differently about him?
Well, then, because at that time I hadn't met him. I mean, you can read out the date again to your listeners, to your audience. That was a date before the elections. I hadn't met him, and meeting him changed my perception about him. You got to recall that was an electioneering period. That was a campaign season. And during campaign season, you use everything that you have against your opponent. By the time I met him, by the time I saw his economic agenda, first and foremost, what you have to understand is that his economic agenda is identical to the economic agenda that we had in the PDP. I was responsible right from 2019, not even 2023, for helping our candidate to put together his economic agenda. When he went to Chatham House, I single-handedly wrote his speech. No other person wrote it. I, from A to Z, I single-handedly wrote his speech. So I'm very intimate with his economic agenda. And it's not a surprise because both Waziri Atiku Abubakar and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu were in the Social Democratic Party. So if you look at our economic agenda, the things that we promised to do, this president is doing them. We promised that we're going to remove fuel subsidies. The president is doing them. We promised that we're going to float the naira. The president is doing that. We promised that we're going to devolve power from the federal to the state and local government. This president is doing that. So basically, if he's doing the things that we said we're going to do, why should I be against him? Look, there was a corollary to the question that the gentleman asked. He said that the economic suffering that Nigerians are going through. Listen, you got to understand that Nigeria is going through some challenges, not because the president is a bad president or, like the young girl said, a terrible president. No, we're going through some challenges because previous administrations did not do the right thing. We should not have been subsidizing fuel all these years. We should not have been subsidizing the naira. A lot of people think that removing the subsidy on fuel was just the biggest thing that the president has done. Well, it's quite true. The subsidy on fuel was costing us about $1.2 billion every month. But we were spending more money subsidizing the naira. We were actually spending $1.5 billion. And if you're at home, you can actually Google me. You can actually fact check me. We were spending $1.5 billion subsidizing the naira. Now, the value of the naira under Buhari, under previous presidents, was not the true value of the naira. The naira had been subsidized. So what this president did was that he just floated the naira, stopped subsidizing it. Because if you ask yourself, what were Nigerians using the subsidized naira to buy? We were spending that money on $25 million. We were spending on French champagne.